Welcome to Fargo Talks Fargo, a podcast on the FX television series Fargo. And here I am sitting with my buddy Charpie in Fargo.
That's right.
Recording it. I mean, I'm always in Fargo. I'm always here, but you're not.
That's true. I moved away, and now we are dangerously close to each other.
Yeah.
Our knees are touching.
Thank God. Well, give it up for my COVID test I took right before we talk, like 3 feet. This is what it's like. I mean, imagine how many years did Bruce Springsteen and, little Steven spend singing into the same mic, and imagine how much, random spit they've shared through the E Street Band.
Yeah, maybe we should be swapping mics back and forth throughout this episode.
Why don't we just use one mic for the whole show?
Yes, even better.
Well, I don't know. Where do we even start? I can tell you this. We did our best to review a lot. We have had quite a bit of listener email lately. I will do my best through the holiday season here to reply to as much as I can, as briefly as I can.
Yeah, it's so awesome.
You guys have sent in so much great stuff, so please do keep it coming. We do read it. We just went through a bunch of it, and some of you are thinking some of the same things we do. Sometimes there are things happening that we, for whatever it's worth, we actually have edited. There's a few things people brought up we've edited out of the show, whether it wasn't a complete thought for us, or I don't know, or we were just too off our rockers. But gosh, the tender trap, Charpie.
Let's head on down.
What was your first thought about it when you heard the show title, now that you've had time? Because I didn't look it up that night. Did you?
No, I did not.
Yeah, I mean, so the first thing I realized is that it's a 1955 film starring Frank Sinatra and Debbie Reynolds and a few people, and it's the overall gist of the movie that I read from Wikipedia. And we also did get an email about it, so thank you for that. I think it was Deb or Deb. If it was you, not Deb, I'm sorry, somebody. It's a story about women who are trying to get married, men who seemingly don't want to, or something. And it's like, classics from the 50s. But
yeah,
here we are with a bunch of women dealing with the men in their lives in a very sometimes inverted position. That's
right.
That's good.
So, yeah, that's interesting. I did not know that about the tender trap. We have we've got a similar joint in Fargo that was formerly named similar to another TV show.
Yeah, the strip club here was originally called what?
Northern Exposure.
Mm-hmm. Then they got sued by the TV show.
Yeah.
What lawyer was digging through that? But they were like, this bar in Fargo that has the topless ladies at it's getting a little too popular. They might mix it up with the TV show we've got.
They were crushing them on the Alta Vista searches.
Janine Turner, right? Wasn't that her name? Was that Janine Turner that was on that show? And Rob Morrow?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, they were pissed. So they changed. They just took off the word exposure.
Yeah, it's just called the Northern.
The Northern.
Now, in case you're in Fargo and want to stop by, Northern Exposure was a amazing for a strip club, I gotta say.
Yeah, everything about it, geographically, everything. Anyway, you know what I really didn't kind of catch was, and maybe I'm wrong. Please tell us where I'm wrong, or you correct me. Where the hell was the tender trap?
Do we know?
That's what I don't know.
Yeah.
So obviously Roy is there, but he's from Stark County. They don't really give us an idea about his whereabouts as a city. And I mean, so Indira is from, right, this little Minnesota Scandia town.
Mm-hmm.
And all of this, is it in Fargo? Is it somewhere in the middle? I mean, maybe we're missing it. I have a feeling it's supposed to be Fargo.
Really? I was thinking it was more closer to Redemption Services, but maybe not.
But where are they? I just can't imagine Wayne lives that far away from his mom. So why would let me put it this way. Why would a banker in Minnesota be donating to a North Dakota sheriff's thing? So the strip club and the guy have to be somewhat located near to... I mean, maybe we're getting a little too real about it because we know that actual town Scandia is north of Minneapolis, which is 3 hours from Fargo, and Bismarck, which is closer to what they're sort of calling Stark County out that way, is 3 hours the other direction from Fargo on the border of Minnesota. So it's like, maybe this is that season one thing again where we're like, that's a lot of driving.
That is a lot of driving. People do it.
That we do.
All right, so we see Vivian Duggar come out of the tender trap. Vivian likes his candy, all kinds of it. Yes,
he does.
One of my favorite lines at the end of this scene was "See you at the Elks."
I wrote this. Yeah, this is fun because now Charpie can sort of see my notes. And I said, he's like, "You two can leave now." And the guy's like, "See you at the Elks."
Yeah, which is hilarious because that exact phrase was literally said to me yesterday in Fargo.
No way.
Yeah, one of our friends who doesn't even watch the show. He's like, "Hey, Thursday we're going to the Elks. We'll see you there."
That's awesome. There is an Elks Club here. My old office was actually in where the old Elks Club was. I still want to give you credit, though, for you said, I wonder if we'll see the bankers again. And I said no. And boy, was I wrong. We saw them right away at the beginning of this episode.
Yeah, now they're like totally weaved into this whole thing.
Well, at least Vivian is.
Yeah.
I was worried. I thought we were going to get to see him dance, but no one wants to see that.
That was interesting. There's a little bit of a smirk on Roy's face at that moment when he asked him to do a little dance. And I don't know. Maybe this is... I think Roy goes a little both ways, maybe.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Good for him.
Exactly.
Of course, he'll
never
find a
admit
reason.
it.
He'll tell you the Bible says you shouldn't do that, and he'll platform it. But once he gets to the Twin Cities airport, he'll be tapping your toe underneath the stall door before you know it.
Yep.
What was that politician's name? I think somebody emailed us about that too, or maybe I just was thinking about it.
Santorum?
No. There was the Minnesota guy that, he got busted. Anyway, what else? What else you got from the tender trap? I feel like you got more.
Nope.
No, that's it? That's the end of your tender trap scene?
I think so.
Oh, by the way, I just poured myself a nice Fargo Brewing Company Kenny's Lemonade Radler that I've also added some Aperol to. It's called a Spaghett. SP, like spaghetti minus the I. Never had one out there. You should go make one. Google it.
That's a very regional drink.
I don't think it's from here. It's from somewhere else. There's a great, if you Google it, the number one return on the search for it, I think, is a Bon Appetit article. It's fancy.
But doesn't it originally supposed to be with High Life?
Yes. I just given it our own local twist here.
Did you notice the woman in the background of that scene just kind of like eerily smoking that cigarette? She obviously might have worked at the tender trap, but...
I actually didn't.
I didn't the first time I watched it, and then the second time I was like, whoa, when did she get there?
Oh, the lady just standing by the stairs.
Yeah.
What a blind eye, I guess she's turned. That's the kind of that's the kind of stuff that goes down outside the tender trap, and you just don't worry about it.
You don't worry about it.
Don't even worry about it.
Head over to the Olmsteads.
It's your second night in town now. Did you sleep on a garage floor somewhere this morning?
I probably did. Of course, when you come back to Fargo, there's a million people you got to see, and Fargo likes their drinks. Feeling a little slow today, Bill.
My big takeaways, well, I'll help you out here. My big takeaways from this were that even though Scotty's in their house, and we mentioned on the hot dish that there's a nice tiger painting on the wall. We know that Scotty's reading a little Berkeley jazz drumming book. Good on Scotty for the studies. But just the way she's standing at the counter, staring off towards the direction of her garage. This is not the first time she's thought long and hard about what an idiot her husband is, or what an insensitive tool he can be. That he's just out there caked out on the floor because that's his only passion seemingly is the way she just kind of like reaches up with the garage door opener, like you're turning off a TV show you hate. But fun for the school kids, I guess. Oh, that sounds terrible to say. He was mad about it, but boy, he really goes on a bit of a lengthy diatribe of what he needs his wife to be. And we talked, he's sort of the unsuccessful version, so to speak, like to modern standards, whereas Roy has power and success, whereas Lars doesn't, but yet he still has all the same ideology of what a woman's place is. He just has, what a long list of gripes for such a non-contributing shitwipe.
Yeah, that is well said, Bill. The interesting... They sprinkle in a lot of these little failures of these doofus men characters throughout this show, and they can kind of like breeze by you. And these little details I think are really good. So what I'm talking about is how Lars completely sabotages, without even knowing it, Indira's little white lie that there's no school today. Because Scotty says, "Are you going to take me to school?" Indira says, "No, there's no school today." Then immediately Lars comes into the room and says, "Hey, the school bus just saw me in my drawers." And she's like, everything that comes out of his mouth is like, he's just like a hurricane, just sabotaging everything because he's just so dumb. Like it was a white lie. It wasn't that important, but now Scotty knows that there is actually school today.
It's strongly indicative of the fact that they're not on the same page.
Yeah, exactly.
And that they're not communicating with each other, which I can totally understand from her standpoint.
Have you ever been a type of person to use the word drawers?
No, but I've heard it, but I just feel like Noah Hawley and the writers on this show have a penchant for wonky words.
Yeah, that is true.
I mean, we're going to talk about Abattoir later.
Drawers is just a funny word for your underwear.
Yeah, but drawers, skivvies.
Sure.
Do
you know why they're called drawers?
I do not. Please tell me.
It's because of the root word draw. You draw them. You draw them on.
Jeez.
So pants and socks are also drawers.
My sister once convinced me that they weren't called socks.
Really?
She told me they were called stocks. And I was probably like 16 years old.
Sure, like stocking.
And she'd been off. Yeah, that was the whole point. You know, she'd been at her first year at Vassar and was trying to kind of own her little brother. And so she convinced me of it and let it roll until I started sharing the fact with my family that we've all been saying it wrong. And then they all laughed at me.
That's great. Maybe it's like a Mandela effect type thing. No, they've always been stocks.
Yeah, and she's like, "Are you kidding? You've been saying it wrong the whole..." I mean, the whole thing started with, "Wait, what did you just say?" And I was like, "Well, I got to go get my socks." And she's like, "They're called stocks." How long have you been saying it that way? I mean, it was really good.
This is amazing.
Yeah, sorry, super sidebar story, but it's just the minute you talk about like words like drawers and stockings and socks. But yeah, he just, the whole, I want a wife, the cooking, the cheerleading, the stuff. Like, he is a full blown man baby too. Not only is he a jerk, but he's a man baby. He needs to be kept up. I mean, the only thing he didn't ask for was like an ass wipe.
And I really liked how he's asking for a wife that supports him. And without even saying it, he goes, and emotionally, I want emotional support. Because without even having to say it, he basically admits that Indira is supporting him financially.
Yeah.
But he wants that emotional support.
And when she brings up the money, he immediately calls her a negative person. Why do you want to talk about all that negativity? Come on, get it. Like, don't make me feel bad. I did think I said there's got to be a bigger part to his character and what he does. And I think this is where we're starting to unfurl the parts of him that we're unsure of, and the complexity of what he is, complexity and or damage that she's causing her world. You know, like for me, I feel like the best thing for her at the end of this show isn't a job or getting out of debt. The best thing at the end of this show is for her to tell Lars to take a walk. Like, see ya, bud. Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to that. There's definitely, and there has been throughout the season, this theme of men children.
Yeah.
Men children. And you see that a lot in here where Lars kind of parallels Wink, because they're both just like children playing with their toys. So, what are you doing there?
Charpie's getting weirded out by the fact that we're recording in the same room. And
it's weird having a conversation with someone in the same room, but you're like looking into a microphone and like,
oh, I've been trying to stare deeply into your eyes for the last 10 minutes.
That's why
you're unwilling. I thought maybe you weren't willing to make the commitment to our relationship on this podcast, but it is true. We have mostly recorded this show remotely from each other since its inception. So,
yes.
So for us, being in the same room is probably the weirdest thing. We have spent a lot of time together in general, physically, in our lives together, but like this show itself is just sort of this, like, we have these own little spaces and distance. But maybe we should take people out of this and straight over to the old family farm, to the Abattoir.
Let's do it. That's a new word for me.
I did not know it completely on my own. I mean, I sort of been like, why do I know this term a little bit? But basically just a term for a slaughter.
Okay.
Slaughterhouse.
So that's where Seymour Butts is getting his face beat in.
Yeah, but boy, he doesn't back down.
Oh man, did he look rough.
Yeah.
That was like some straight up like Saw or Hostel movie type gore.
Yeah, I really liked, I mean, like from a cinematic standpoint and how things looked, I thought it was shot beautifully. I did get slightly taken out of it at one point because through the window there was like this light backlighting through the window of the Abattoir, but then when you see Gator smoke outside, the sun is like over the barn the other direction, and I was like, as a dork, that broke me just a little bit.
Oh, okay.
I moved on pretty quick because right after we see the beating happening, that Bowman's laying on. Not only that, Gator's not doing any of the work.
No.
Like, what's he taking a break from? Standing there?
He's got a vape, man.
Yes, I gotta go outside and get my douche flute.
The Gator vapor.
The Gator vapor. That's right. But we go inside and we see Roy getting a good old haircut because he doesn't want to let anyone get a Flowbee suck and cut system.
That's right.
Because Roy sucks. Little Trump on in the background, and she's very identifying with him. But as you may or may not have heard, and I edit these things pretty late at night. I don't know. I think I cut it. I left it in. We talked on the hot dish about the fact that we had to stream the show funny, and that noise canceling / background stuff basically washed away the music and all sorts of stuff for you when you watch the show. But you also told me when we sat down here today that it took away all of Trump's talking too, which, boy, if there should be a filter for that elsewhere in the world. But
we might be onto something.
Yeah, but so you didn't even hear you just saw Trump on the TV.
I just saw Trump on TV. I didn't hear the words that were coming out of his mouth on my first watch when we were watching it live. And then later on in the episode, there's some quid pro quo action, and we brought it up on the hot dish, like, hey, this is like, there's a lot of quid pro quo talking about, and that's like what Trump was talking about like a long time ago.
I thought it was good that you didn't realize it.
I didn't realize it. So this Trump on the television talking about quid pro quo, do you think this is definitely a nod to this aggression will not stand?
It's got to be a little bit of something in that vein of presidents doing things or talking about things. But I also think it serves as another tool, to sum it up as fast as I can, is she says all of these things that are very supportive to what I believe is probably partly Roy's cause, air quotes around the word cause. And then no sooner than she cuts his ear and she hits him, or he hits her, he basically tells her, that's what you get when you're nosing around in things you don't need to be talking about, because how dare she say what she's saying, have an opinion, God forbid she has an opinion, and then on top of that, talk about it to the two girls that are getting homeschooled at the table, the Wonder Twins. I just want to know when they're getting their little big wheels to ride around the Outlook or the Overlook, and then blood's going to be everywhere running out of the doors, and I'm going to have nightmares. But he just craps on her because she was trying to be supportive and have something in common with him, and I don't know, that smack for me was like very startling personally.
That was rough.
I know eventually in a minute we get to see a guy get a bullet put in his head, but I don't know.
Somehow that's easier, even though the guy's totally innocent.
Yeah, right?
That's so bad. She's broken. Like Roy is a ranch guy. Like he literally breaks his women like he breaks a horse.
Yeah. Oof.
It's disgusting. Like she totally flipped the script and made her feel like the bad.
Yeah. It's so weird when he speaks so lovingly about, those are my mothers, like getting blood on him. And it's just, but at the same time, it's like, how can you speak so fondly of another woman when you just like hit one?
Exactly.
Just so weird. The human condition has all sorts of range and stuff, but it's still just, boy. And then
men are the worst. Speaking of men, we see another guy on the TV, Wayne Lyin.
Yeah.
So we get to see a commercial from Lyon's Motors, which is great. And the best line here in this commercial is, we got the lowest prices in town, and I ain't lying. Hi, I'm Wayne Lyin.
It's local advertising, right? So he got the spot for free by buying the airtime. And I bet you he even helped write it, and he was proud about it.
Oh yeah, big time.
Yeah.
So am I reading into this too much when he says, I ain't lying, hi, I'm Wayne Lyin? Is he Wayne Lyin? Are we going to find out that maybe that's not?
Ooh, I didn't even think of that.
Name?
I just thought it was just playing into the whole lying, lion, drum set, bad liars.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe this is the overall theme of this season about like, what are we all lying to ourselves about?
Exactly, yeah.
It's in the words right there. The lowest prices in town, and I ain't lying. In the sign behind him too.
Wow, it is.
Sorry, amazing. I just zoomed in for Charpie on the video. But yeah, look at his face. Look how proud he is. I bet you when this commercial aired, he told everybody about it.
Yeah, you had to make sure that you were sitting down at the 6 p.m. news or something just to have all your friends around just to watch the commercials.
The good news about him is instead of being a doofus, he's a goofus.
I like goofus.
Maybe not the brightest, maybe not the sharpest, but he's cool.
All right, if Wayne Lyon's a goofus, what is Lars?
Ooh, the douchest?
I like it.
Douchous. Yeah, I don't know. The minute we saw that commercial, obviously we knew that's over. He's going to figure that out.
Yeah, and what do we know? We know that Gator's got the wrong guy. Or should we give Gator some credit and say Bowman got the wrong guy?
Yeah, well, that's what he tried to do. He tries to turn that whole thing around. What was the line? I don't remember the whole thing, but boy, he just finally outs the whole thing and says, "Son, you got a bad luck problem. Like you're an upside down horse. There's an upside down horseshoe kind of business." And holy cow, another shocking moment that. Well, now that I'm saying this to you out loud. Roy, twice in this episode, I never thought of this till just now. Twice in this episode, Roy is doing something and you're like, okay, blah, blah, blah. And then on a moment's notice, boom, he hits his wife. He goes out to the shed and in a moment's notice, boom, he shoots a guy in the head.
Yeah, but he knows he's going to shoot that guy in the head but when he steps out of that door. Like, when he steps out of the house. Because he's not wearing he's not wearing a mask. Yeah. Like all the other guys are.
Even though Gator's like, we're wearing kerchiefs.
Yeah, we're wearing kerchiefs.
I'm super smart. Covered my face. Yeah, except you're all on camera in a hospital.
Yeah.
Speaking of doofus versus goofus, he's a dingus.
A dingus?
Maybe. I don't know.
Okay.
I got a lot of names for things.
Yeah, I'm liking it. We're going to explore this. Okay. Or so either knows he's going to shoot him when he leaves the house, or he just doesn't care. It
was very clear by all the gentlemen there that they weren't expecting it, and the other thing is that Roy doesn't need to consult them. He makes a decision. He doesn't need to talk about it or think about it or consult. And that's what I feel is being laid out here too for us very mildly, is that when Roy makes up his mind, he consults no one. He says what he wants. He does what he wants. Very similar to a different doofus on the TV.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking Cheeto. And then eventually they got to pay the boogeyman.
Yeah. Roy says, as they are ending this scene, he says he knows where Gator got a thorn in his paw, which is interesting. Lots of tiger stuff, obviously. And then we're off to see Ule Munch.
Ule Monk. Holy Munch.
One more thing in that shed. I found it interesting, an interesting parallel here when Gator's talking about how he used to knock all the pins down with his eyes closed. And we just saw Lars talk about how he's got to go to physical therapy and do all this other stuff so that he can play the course with his eyes closed.
Do you think they have the same guru?
I think so.
Is that what... I mean, I'm trying to imagine what's the Fargo universe name of that guru doctor. It's got to be something good. It'll be good. Well, let's stay tuned. Let's cross your fingers.
Yeah, I actually know it. I'll tell you in the next episode.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, sure. How about that death scene, though?
Yeah, we do have to back up.
That drawn out shot to the head. I haven't seen that before. I don't know if that was a reference to something, but it was unexpected.
It was very unexpected, and you just you get kind of glued to it for a hot second. Mm-hmm. You're just like, oh man, that poor.
Exactly.
All he wanted was his enema and to get rid of cancer, and instead Roy just pops him in the head before he can even finish his statement. But whatever. That's Roy.
They really spent some time in making us dislike this guy before his death so that we didn't feel so bad about it. So kudos to the writers on that one.
I guess, yeah.
Okay, I'm making myself a spaghetti here. Got the Aperol. Tell me when, Bill.
Just do an ounce. Just an ounce. One
All
ounce.
Right.
1 ounce Aperol. 1 12-ounce Fargo Brewing Company Kenny's Lemonade.
1 Kenny's Lemonade.
But for those of you at home, if you want to make a spaghetti, it is 1 ounce Aperol, 1 ounce lemon juice, fresh, please. Don't get that weird crap. And then 1 Miller High Life.
Champagne of beers.
Well, yeah, champagne. Okay. We end up at the hospital. Indira notices the name tag thing, and she has some stuff, and she's very clear. She's like, oh, well, she's got to go. She hears they're downstairs, and she wants to talk with the FBI. That is the nicest looking hospital restaurant lounge area I've seen in a lot of places.
It is really nice. In fact, I own that furniture.
No.
Yes, those couches that they're sitting on, I have those.
At your office or at your house?
Office.
That's funny.
Yeah, they're turnstone couches.
I love that Mr. Lyin shows up with his own little mini bar and he's like, oh, you need a gimlet?
Yeah, the guy literally brings a bar with him. And I don't know what is going to become of this guy, Wink, Lorraine's husband, but he's very interesting. And I love seeing him in every scene almost. There's another scene where he's just kind of like standing in the background with his cocktail, just standing there. And for some reason, I think he just adds a lot to the composition of a scene.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a suitcase bar.
Yeah,
it's got everything.
Do you have one of those?
No. Well, sort of.
How about your parents?
Just in general, my trunk's always got something tasty in it. If you're a cop, turn this off right now.
My parents did have one of those.
Oh, the suitcase,
yeah, for it's like a mini cocktail bar in a suitcase, and it would be for picnics and stuff.
Yeah, I've seen them. I mean, I just don't have one. I mean,
yeah,
Christmas isn't here yet.
That's right.
The feds really lay it all out here, though, don't they?
They sure do. Yeah. I don't know what to think of the feds. They kind of annoy me, to be honest. But I do like some of these shots of the two in agreement. Joaquin is just kind of when he nods for some reason. I dig it. They're saying smart stuff, but they're still both kind of dummies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, again, like all these characters in this scene, it's going to be really fun to watch and see where they end up, and if they end up.
I kind of am with you on the whole, like, I don't know where to go with them yet. I just keep thinking, is this some sort of kind of weird parallel to the real world of, turns out the government does know all these things, but they're not, if they have all this information, they didn't just gather all this now.
Mm-hmm.
It's very clear that they've had their eye on Roy. It's just not the right big fish for the Fed to look after. Like, it's so weird how much information they have, and they're like, oh, well, we'll finally tell you now. Now oh, Indira, you're here? Okay, well, when she sort of demands it, she's like, let's talk.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's just, I'm not sure where they go in this.
Yeah, we do find out Dot's name is Nadine Bump.
Yeah.
Classic Fargo name.
Yeah. Do you know the bumps around here?
I know a few bumps, yeah.
Oh, you really do? I was making a joke. I don't know any bumps, but there is a moment here where a listener pointed it out, and on the second watch, I really did it. I apologize for not being able to dig up our emails for who did it, but when Wayne, though, does say in this scene, he asks about all that's going on, he wants to know if Dot's okay. And Indira does have this look on her face of like, oh my God, I wish I had a man who had that kind of care for me first. He still has a very earnest desire to know if Dot is okay, which I think is I stand by the whole, they're one of the truest relationships on the show right now, is in terms of a couple.
That's true. Yeah, they might be the only true relationship that we've seen so far.
Yeah, I mean, I guess true is maybe not the right word, but just they're the most kind of endearing and
they have love.
Yeah, they have love.
And Wink, with his cocktail, says Rommel used the sound of drums to drive his enemies mad. So we're back to this General Rommel character that he seems to be obsessed with, and we get clarification, or we get confirmation on his obsession with these German generals, which we alluded to in the first episode when he starts talking about Rommel, but it is very faint, and it's just as the scene's cutting to a different scene, he starts telling a story about Rommel, and here we go. His obsession continues, and then later he's playing with his little G.I. Joes.
His little toys. Yeah, I mean, he's really living in another world, isn't he?
As with most of the men in this series. So where do you think we're at when we move on from the hospital? Where is this taking place? Is this like a fairground or like some sort of rodeo stadium?
No, I figured this is their equivalent of like the outdoor auction lot for livestock.
That seems accurate.
It's like the stock exchange for livestock, where you go and you buy and sell and trade cattle as commodities.
Yep, you're right. Good call.
But yeah, these two are here watching the cattle get herded up and moved around while they're waiting to meet with Oli.
Yeah, and they're getting the cattle are getting tagged, and we actually see like a Tillman Ranch brand on the tag. So good attention to detail there. Yeah,
this show does a really nice job with that. But boy, Roy, for the most part, gives Gator a lot of pseudo second chances.
Mm-hmm.
If you put him in the car and you don't want him to do this, you want him to not do this, I'm going to trust you to be the guy to go check the other guy for weapons, who, by the way, last time I sent you to check on him and take him somewhere, he grabbed you by the business and got a gun from you and killed 2 people.
Mm-hmm.
And I've admitted multiple times openly to you that you're born under a bad sign in so many ways, yet, hey, go check him for weapons. A lot of trust from Roy.
Yeah, alone in this, under the bleachers.
Also in this point, too, talking about him giving a lot of weird trust to Gator over and over. He has him check him, and then where does he send him again? Wait in the car.
Mm-hmm.
He's always in the back seat, so to speak.
Yeah, Roy knows that he's got to play his cards right with this character, Ula. Just like he said, hey, we tried killing him, and now we're bailing water out of a sinking ship. Great line. He knows that, this guy's not somebody to mess with, and we don't have to like him, but we can still be partners and get what we want.
I think you're right about that.
What do you think about Roy checking out that bull's cock?
I think it's just another extension of Roy having very traditional manliness and masculinity and derives power from those types of things. It's large, it's big, it's all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, he says, look at the cock on that monster. But then that is right after Gator is face to face with Oli's crotch when he's checking him. And even Oli's got like a little twinkle in his eye when Gator's patting him down. And Gator's down on his knees in front of Oli.
I don't know if I guess I maybe didn't notice the closeness of those scenes, but I really just thought it was mostly Roy falling into the traditional thing. Simmer down about your wieners, guys. It's going to be fine.
Oli's outfit with that jacket, I mean, he looks like a 90s grunge rock star.
He's just like, Kurt Cobain would have wore that jacket.
Exactly.
Like to an MTV Total Request Live interview if he had one. Totally. Or Headbangers Ball. I'm really worried. I'm worried if he borrowed the coat or if we've lost Mama Munch. We've only sort of seen him murder for the reasons he needs to, with the exception, as a listener also pointed out, except for, rest in peace, Horn Boy, who blew the air horn at the
gas station clerk.
The gas and go. Yep.
Yeah. So
but that was probably a necessity.
It's tough to say because he's a nihilist. Maybe he's just totally indifferent to life. But part of me wants to say, like, no, he wouldn't have done that. He didn't kill the twins or anything like that. But at the same time, taking an old woman's coat in North Dakota is not good.
So you're worried that she's not going to need it anymore.
Exactly.
Oof, ouch.
How's she going to get her hams?
Is it? I mean, that's the weird part is like somehow I feel like because they've portrayed him in a certain way, I have a certain amount of feeling for him that I probably shouldn't have.
Yeah, I'm right there with you for sure. I think it's just because he's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. It's just that's part of storytelling sometimes really gets us to a place where you find yourself in an awkward position identifying with horrible things or people which by a certain amount of their nature is just abhorrent, but at the same time you look back and you think, well, somebody made you eat bread over a dead guy in the 1500s in Scotland or Wales. It's interesting what it can get you to do. Also, fantastic vehicle when he finally leaves his conversation with Roy. I mean, we probably are doing a little bit of a disservice to Oli's soliloquies and talking because he's still talking in the very third person. He's got all sorts of things to say, but I feel like no matter what he says to Roy and what they're doing and what he's agreeing to, I think what's really being set up here is what I think is a future showdown with Gator. I can't decide if Gator's going to win it by like some sort of dumb luck thing, because there's a lot of weird luck in the Coen Brothers universe.
Yeah, and that's kind of his whole life. Like he's keeps failing upwards, basically. I mean, he's a sheriff, technically.
Yeah, he works for the sheriff's office.
Sure.
Yeah, failing up's a very solid term.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be a showdown. I don't think Gator's going to win, though, but that is interesting. I'll oppose you on that, and then we'll have
I don't think he's going to win. I just think it would be very Coen-y if Oli loses the battle with Gator. It'll be something stupid. Like it slips on a bar of soap and then we'll watch Gator turn that into a massive victory that he will lie about how he took him down, even though we as the viewer will be like, no, you didn't.
I do like that.
Purely dumb luck, you doofus, not goofus.
That is more interesting. I like how Roy was talking about how it's the mouse and the tiger, right? And the mouse thinks it's hunting the tiger when the whole time the tiger's just playing with its supper. Yeah. And that's exactly what we're seeing here. Gaming Gator's, I think, setting himself up for failure again by pulling out this tracker stunt. Yeah, which is really, I'd have to look to do, well, we could right now, because I have the scene pulled up from No Country for Old Men. The tracker is how Anton Sugar tracks down his thing. So he thinks he's the smart guy, but he's not, because guess what? We're in an inverted universe, in a way. All the way down to the button. It is literally is it the same? The exact same tracker from No Country for Old Men. No way. Oh my God, it is. It is the tracker. Okay, so Charpie has the TV show pulled up where he pulls out the tracker and turns it on. It is the same well, hey, shout out to the props department. You were dang it close. It's a little taller, but it's the same color. And it's got a little bit different screen, close to the same, and the same two buttons. Wow. If you want to go check this out for funsies, Charpie, what minute is that at for? 25 minutes, 17 seconds. If you feel like if you have a copy of No Country for Old Men, go to 45 minutes, 15 seconds, approximately. Same deal. Nice catch. He's trying to outsmart him, and it's not going to work. I think that obviously the big takeaway from part of this scene, if we were truly to believe that this is getting set up, is I think the person he truly tells off is Gator about
a boy complains that he thinks about the world being unfair, and a man knows that things, happen. But boy, that whole what's the comment about digging a grave? If there's nothing to put in it, it's just a hole. Is that what it was? What was it?
Yeah.
I think we've been, as you've kind of even commented about the mouse and the tiger. I think that's similarly happening. That Roy, at least, right, realizes something's going on here I'm not comfortable with, so we're going to send somebody else after it. But Gator's too stupid to know, and now he is the mouse and doesn't realize he's the one also playing with the tiger as well in Oli.
Exactly. Yep.
Gosh, it's going to have to be somewhat really satisfying to watch it go down. And really hats off to Joe Keery, for playing such a lovable character on Stranger Things and being just so unlikable here. I think it speaks pretty well to the writing and his a little bit of his range, because it takes a hot second for you to realize he's not the lovable sidekick for anyone in this. He's a full-blown...
So we got a meeting of the law people at the diner. This diner is getting some action.
Very much.
Yeah, and I like the diner. Looks a lot like our artwork on our website, actually. So Deputy Olmstead's getting the lowdown from the feds even more so. Feds, like you were saying, they're trying to set a bigger trap. And that's what feds do, They spend a lot of time really honing in on a case and really getting all the evidence, because when they take on a case, if they're going to start pressing charges, it's going to be rock solid.
Right.
And Olmstead is just look, he's kidnapping people. He's making people disappear. This is all happening today. Isn't that enough? Can't we go after him?
Don't let this atrocity on this woman go by the sideline just so you can make a bigger case. It's awful for her. There's obviously times this truly happens. If you think about building giant cases against criminal enterprises, but it still doesn't have to completely wash away the fact that there are people being victimized and things that are going unsolved or unaided in the way that they should. And if it makes you feel uncomfortable thinking about that, that's because it should,
Yep. Well said, Bill.
Thank you.
Yes. Very Molly Solverson-y.
She and Indira are similar in that way. They're smart, strong, and have at the heart of their character the desire to help those directly related to the scene that they're in, and to just nip crime in the bud or whatever it is, the wrongdoing, right then and there. You don't wait around for something bigger. You stop things now.
Protect and serve, man. So yeah, this is where we start to see some of that foreshadowed quid pro quo action. You help me, I help you. So that's between Deputy Olmstead and the feds. So I think this is a reference to Big Lebowski, just like George Bush and Big Lebowski. Says, this aggression will not stand. And later on, the dude, hey man, this aggression will not stand. So it's not verbatim, but we see a former president on the TV saying quid pro quo, and now here we are in 2 scenes in this episode with quid pro quo tit for tat.
They're horse trading over all sorts of things. Everybody is. Whether on varying levels of grunginess and grossness.
Speaking of grossness, Lars at the Olmstead house, after this scene, we see him going to his physical therapist. He's going to leave Scotty alone, all by herself, in the Olmstead house. Not even her house. All by herself, and then freaking, what is he? He's a dooshus?
he's a doofus, not a goofus.
The dooshus of Scandia?
He's the douchist.
Okay.
I'm going to lose track of all this.
The Duchess of Scandia,
it's like Duchess, but it's for Lars only. He's the Duchess.
Yes, exactly. He's going to his physical therapist, air quotes, and we obviously know he's cheating on his wife because he's spritzing himself with cologne.
Who puts on a little? It wasn't quite Axe body spray, but close enough. Sorry if you wear Axe body spray out there. That's okay. I shouldn't shame anybody for their choice of body scent. I don't know.
I don't know why I got a bad rap.
Yeah, well, college, fraternities. Here's the interesting part to me is that all he wants to do is ask for support. I need support. I need this. I need this. All the things Lars needs. And Indira asks him to do one thing. Look after this simple child who's not a baby. She doesn't need her diaper changed. Scotty doesn't need entertaining even. Just be here and be present. And he is inept and unable to do the bare minimum for another human being that is not in the way of his personal needs and or aspirations.
Yeah, and the one thing Scotty is interested in, the drums, he tells her not to touch because they're a tool.
Well, he's also, you know what he is? He's scared. He's afraid she's going to be better. And she probably is.
Oh, she definitely is.
Crapping all over, just going to go ahead and just call it out because we wildly speculate. Clearly, this isn't her kid, his kid. I've made some crazy speculations on the drums thing, but I want to know why the drums matter here, or if it's just something else.
It was, I don't know. It was mentioned in an email, too. I thought this was a good observation that somebody said that the drum kits are the same colors as the hospital logos. The Walter Mondale Hospital has like 2 circles.
Really?
One blue and one green. The same blue and green at the drum.
So is this in relation to listener Mark's idea that they think Scotty may unfortunately hurt somebody or do something?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know if she was playing any particular song. It's hard to tell just from the drums.
Do you know what song I thought it was?
But I was hoping it was Imagine Dragons.
No, I actually thought, when I heard it, and I have to play it back, I immediately thought it was Twisted Sisters, We're Not Gonna Take It.
Oh.
Which, for whatever it's worth, when I thought that, then I thought, well, that's interesting. But then I thought, boy, you go back to those old school Dee Snider days, big bushy hair, glam rock, little gender bendery. Interesting, and I also thought, Scotty is also very clearly, Scotty marches to their own beat, but Lars is such a turd. Just can't get it together to help.
He's like a wet, kind of sloppy turd.
Ugh.
The worst.
This is the kind you really made sure you have a bidet for. Sorry, folks, we're getting gross tonight.
The kind you have to take a shower after.
Yeah. One job. You had one job, dude. The person you asked for 100% of your support from asks you, I need you to just do this thing. And he did, to whatever in his defense. He claimed, I got my therapy and then my guru wants me to walk the course. Still, God, just have a little empathy for another human being.
Couldn't even feed her.
No. Well, he's probably pissed she ate his Frosted Flakes.
Oh.
Because there was that line. There was that line way back at the Breakfast Child.
You want me to clear my bowl?
Scotty says, like, does your kid like him?
Yeah.
And she's like, well, sort of my kid. And then that was where I had the moment where I literally all caps wrote, she has a man-child. But I also like cereal a lot, too. So I don't want to be lumped into that category.
I love cereal, dude.
That's my favorite.
It's so bad
so
for you.
Much. It's so, I know. It's like so... Everything about it is kind of wrong. It's processed. It's weird. And you pour milk all over it. But
it's like a future food. I love it.
I used to eat a lot of cereal growing up. A lot. I would come home from school and eat like 2 bowls of cereal. And then I would be like, when's dinner?
What was your cereal of choice?
Oh, we were not allowed to have cool cereal at my house.
You had the bottom shelf big bag cereal?
No. I just mean like we didn't get Lucky Charms. We didn't get, it was like a real stretch would be like Golden Grams would be like the sweets. A lot of Cheerios, a lot of Total, a lot of Wheaties. Frosted Flakes were allowed. They're great. Every once in a while, if I got up, picked up the Sunday section supplements and ripped out like a Lucky Charms $2 off in double coupon or whatever it was back, or it was $1 off, which was $2 off at Hornbacher's. Then you could squeeze through a box of Lucky Charms or heaven forbid a wreck the roof of your mouth.
Captain Crunch,
anything of Captain Crunch, doesn't matter which one. But generally, if you're going Captain, I feel like you got to go berries the whole way.
Yeah, or peanut
Crunch
butter.
Berries. Peanut butter's good, but it's
different.
It's different. I also go Reese's when I go peanut butter now. There's a Reese's peanut butter.
I'm surprised the peanut butter Captain Crunch was even like in the Captain Crunch family. I mean,
yeah, they're almost gentle too because they're round. They don't like wreck you as bad, but they have a lot of the full flavor. And here ends another session of Bill and Charpie talk about weird things from food. Okay, Lars leaves her. He's doing something bad. We know that.
We definitely know that.
Talk to me about pink dress shirts, if you could, for a minute.
Okay, yeah. You know what? If my name is Vivian Duggar and my initials are VD, I'm not gonna get stuff monogrammed. Okay?
No, it's just a straight up, just like don't do it. Don't do it.
You can have some nice things, but that's one nice thing you should just avoid: the VD monogrammed clothing.
Yeah, easily like. Smartest thing ever to not know.
Yeah, this scene at Redemption Services between Danish and Lorraine really, I think, emphasizes. So in the last episode, we were saying like how Danish doesn't really get noticed, and he's like just trying so hard. He's just like he wants to help, and he wants to like be the guy that people turn to, and everybody's just kind of like ignoring him or like brushing him off. And in this scene, he's more of a doofus than I actually thought, because he didn't even notice that the shirt was monogrammed. Lorraine did. Then he's got the note that says, not on my watch. And he didn't even notice that it was on the sheriff's letterhead.
Yeah, he wanted to get the handwriting experts to start looking into it.
Yeah, he's got a whole team of. It's like it's like those are his toys, like the henchmen and the experts, and like he's like a gadget guy, and he just wants to play with toys and tools at his disposal instead of just like read the page. Man, it's got a friggin' sheriff badge on the letterhead.
Yeah, that's a good call out. Shocker, making it more complicated than it needs to be.
Exactly. Yeah, I think this guy is less quick than I gave him credit for.
This is also the nice scene, though, where we see is this the second or third time in the show that she does, when they wheel in her son, when Wayne comes in, she has a very genuine moment where she wants him to feel love and warmth. She knows he's kind of a goofus and is missing some things, but she cares enough that she wants to get him home for, what was the meal? The
beef bourguignon.
You could look at it as taking out his plushies as a slight, but if you take yourself away from that for a moment and just say, well, he's a person who experienced some serious trauma, and the thing his mother who has known him his whole life wants to do is give him his favorite meal, and the thing that she knows caused him comfort and or joy. And so I thought, you could look at the plushie thing as a minus or a plus. Depends.
Sure, I like that.
It's just one of the few times we see her completely tear down the wall of, I'm this incredible businesswoman. I don't care. I know I'm going to own the people that I'm around, which I still like. It's still fun. Doesn't make her a great person, but it's still fun because the people she owns in so many of these scenes they're rough.
So now we're gassing up the Porsche, and we're getting ready to steal an election. This is going to be very fun, I think, in the next coming episodes. We've got ourselves somewhat of a little bit of a proxy war going on.
I think so.
Maybe multiple proxy wars. And I like this because, they're all kind of fighting over Dot, really. Even if Lorraine wouldn't want to admit it, because she wants her son to be happy.
Yes.
And then you've got Roy trying to snuff Dot out, thinking Dot's a tick, which was also a great description. She's like a tick, can't crush her. So yeah, they're gassing up the Porsche and they're heading off to steal an election. I don't know how they're going to do that. I mean, obviously they're going to dump money into the opponent, but it'll be fun to watch. I hope
or not dump money. What we will find out later, because we don't have to go in perfect order here. What we find out later is that she cuts off the money. She basically goes to Mr. VD himself, and she's like, she's gonna wreck him because he has already made it clear that he won't sell to her, and he's donating to a campaign. So she's like, I'm gonna shut off the spigot.
That's true.
I'm gonna call the SEC, and not only that, she isn't just gonna take away the money. She's gonna go even farther and say she's gonna freeze him out, and she's gonna mess up Roy's campaign funds. She's even gonna destroy his children's life.
That's true.
Notre Dame, the kids, they're calling now. They're looking for it. This is like full-blown capitalist ruthlessness. Greed is good. This is Gordon Gekko in a way. Not the same deal, but you know what I mean? The whole, I don't care. I want what I want.
Yep. She even says,
it's okay.
She even says, find Vivian's cell phone number. I don't care how you do it.
In between that, we should just touch on the fact that Indira comes home, finds Scotty rocking the drums. Lars just can't do it. We've already touched on that, but did it surprise you that she took Scotty back?
Absolutely. That was totally unexpected for me.
We talked a little bit about a hot dish about it, but what did you make of it, like on the rewatch? Like, what do you think her intentions were?
At first I thought, this was just her being, enough is enough. I'm drawing the line. I'm done here. I'm done having to do everything, help everybody. Like, I've reached my limit. Now I think it's more so, and maybe there's still a little bit of that, but now I think she's probably, after having met with the feds, maybe starting to play her little own game here in this whole, like, making things right with Dot and, like, saving her. And this is maybe a trap or something that she can set to reel Dot back in. Because
wow, you go to different, darker places than me sometimes.
Okay, well, let's hear your theory.
No, I wanted you to finish. I mean, you think it's part of her trying to get her back by?
It might be bait. It might be because Dot's going to be on the war path now, and maybe Olmstead's trying to stop that. Stop her from doing something stupid that will cost her life possibly, and maybe put her family in danger. Let's put Scotty back in the nest and see if she comes back, and let's figure this out.
That's a good idea, too, because we already know that she doesn't want Scotty there because she's taken her from there once. I don't want Scotty with you.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm interested in that we sort of learn is what I see. Oh, man, oh, goodness, you're kind of breaking my thing here. My original thought on the second watch was that because she is so ill-partnered in her life in Lars, that she didn't feel she could live up to the agreement with Dot.
Oh.
And because she realized that she doesn't have anyone else to cover her or to help her or to make her fulfill any promises she makes, whether in life or in general, that she's like, I can't honor this agreement, and the next safest place is with another woman who I don't like or love, but at least has security and money and power, and it's the most safe, unappealing place for Scotty.
I like that too. That's pretty good.
And you know what? Both things can be kind of in effect at the same time.
Yep. I mean, she does, and she goes to Lorraine's house with full intention because she brings that case file of Dot.
Ooh, yeah, right? Because, if you really pull it together with what she's piecing together herself through her investigation and what the feds are telling her, maybe that's the other thing is she realizes, ooh, here's something. Maybe she realizes that she's actually Dot's only ally out there on the other side of the wall, that she's like, I can't sort of ally up to you a little bit until I find a place to stash your kid.
Mm-hmm.
And to help drive home that point, yeah, I got to bring this file.
Mm-hmm.
Which is just, oof. Oh, I mean, come on, even opening that shot, playing with his World War II toys, where he's like, Ich bin Amerikaner. And I just thought, man, what kind of idiot is playing with the German side? Like, there's a weird part where you're like, why is he taking such joy in them sort of pummeling the Americans?
Well,
you'd think it would be the other way around.
Yeah, but these folks are all like wannabe fascists, so.
But I don't get the vibe that Lorraine's a fascist of any kind. Do you? I mean, she's like sort of playing into the idea of like capitalism and America and guns and like power, but I don't.
Yeah, we haven't really explicitly been given any evidence of that.
Maybe that's the thing maybe that's the trouble, is that Lorraine's blind-eyed against her husband's weird infatuation with something.
Mm-hmm. Did you have G.I. Joes?
I did.
Me too.
They were fun.
And I had like a thing exactly like Rommel.
Jesus.
Oh, exactly.
You had a
like
dark childhood.
Yeah. No, like Wink is playing with these like little figurines, and he's got this like battlefield set up, and I actually had one of those. I made it for my G.I. Joes. I used a train set props and like and little grasses and bushes.
Yeah, it's full tabletop.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And it's very clear that it's a room he has for his fantasy world. There's ships in the background. He kind of fancies himself an elite educator and knowledge person, even though he's just a man who knows how to make a gimlet.
Yep.
That's fine too. On the fly. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with a good gimlet. Which, by the way, hey, full circle, gimlets. Some people in their gimlets love a little bit of pearl onion. Ever seen pearl onions in a gimlet?
Oh, shit. Yeah, I have seen a pearl onion.
Hey, we're bringing this whole shit together now. We should record in person all the time.
Oh, I love pearl onions.
Yeah.
We got to find a place with pearl onions tonight.
That's the goal when we go out to dinner tonight. This is also another situation, though, earlier when she comes to the house, though, where Lorraine looks out, hears some sort of commotion, walks out of her den or her area of the home, and sees Scotty and has just a total moment, I think, of just, she's a human being.
Yep, she's definitely got a softness.
And it's at like 35 minutes, 24 seconds in. She has a full-blown, her brow isn't furrowed in the same way. I think this is Jennifer Jason Leigh doing a very good job of really just code switching her character too.
Totally. Dude,
right?
She looks like a different person.
Yeah, she's just like bright and warm, and then she goes, "Uh-oh, Indira's here," and then she's like snaps back to, "Oopsies, I'm not supposed to." And oh my god, I just replayed it for Charpie just now. She literally has a moment. I didn't notice it until just now. She literally goes almost like when like a fake movie thing where somebody goes, "All right, I'm entering my character," and you wave your hand in front of your face like end scene and start scene. And so I'm starting to wonder if what we learned through this is that she's also been all of them are playing a character. Even though she's powerful, she's still playing a character.
Yeah,
I hope maybe some of these women can find a way to be exactly who they want to be. Maybe
Absolutely.
Don't we all? Don't we all? That's not gender specific.
You already nailed it in the first episode, I think, where she's like faking a mid-Atlantic accent. Like that accent isn't real. It's not from anywhere. It's like a fake 1940s, 50s movie accent. So,
yeah.
And Dot's doing the same. A few episodes ago, sitting at that dinner table at Dot's house, they're both talking to each other in accents that are fake. They're pretending to be different people.
Yeah. Wayne is incredibly delighted to be reunited with his child. She clearly adores her father as well. So it's also just, as much as you and I have been beating up certain points, it's really nice to see Scotty, and as much as we can call Wayne a goofus, to Scotty, he's a great thing and somebody she adores as well.
Yeah, a goofus is neither good nor bad.
I don't think so. I mean, well, it can mean all sorts of things. Plus, I mean, I'm not trying to create my own subsection of
I am
stuff. Oh, you like it?
Yeah.
You like
definitely.
it? You like that?
There's going to be a Fargo Talks Fargo.
You like that?
Glossary.
Sorry, that was my Kirk Cousins reference for Minnesota Vikings fans. Okay.
Oh, jeez.
Hey man, just come on.
Big scene. We've got another kind of surprise. There's so much to talk about in this episode. I mean, come on. Lorraine offers Deputy Olmsted a job.
Yeah, I mean, they have a ton of back and forth about some other stuff, but eventually, do you think she's placating her, or she's actually seen the value of who she is? Do you think she's really seeing her? I think that's what they're playing on us, is that we don't know.
Well, now you've got me thinking about that, actually. I mean, she does give, Lorraine gives Indira 24 hours. If you really wanted somebody to consider a job.
That's facade business lady her.
Yep.
And I think it's also that when she asked her for a decision, and then she pushed back with, you don't get to do that to me. I'm not on your timeline. Because she immediately assumed she needed Lars' permission. And I think Indira maybe didn't need that. I just think she's a person who gives everything thoughtful consideration, which is how she's exactly where she is.
Yep.
If she didn't like thoughtful consideration, she would have already opened and shut this case based on her boss, who clearly wanted her to go that direction. But is she placating her? Is she going for it? They're both having a little bit of a power play back and forth. The key that she didn't answer was, I thought, a really nice point. The thing, like, she's not going to tell her.
Yeah.
She doesn't owe her anything.
Exactly.
And in actuality, Indira was there person to person. Because didn't she say, she's like, she should be here. I look who I found. I need to get you back with family. I'm not the right place for you. Even though they're not the best, this is still the best place for you. And then she immediately approaches her with, I think you need to understand that you think the two of you are so different, but you are not. Makes a case, and somewhere in the middle of that, though, she sees the nature of who she is, how she works and operates, and says, ooh, I need you here. I need you to whip these boys out here in shape.
Absolutely. Yeah. All these swinging dicks. I think you're right, though. Look, this is the Queen of Debt. She's giving this offer because if Indira takes it, now Deputy Olmsted is like in debt to her.
Yeah, I gave you a job.
Yeah.
What are you doing for me? That was the weird part of the offer, was I'll pay you so much you could pay it off. Well, you're the company that's calling her in the morning. And and then, by the way, we thank you for your call. Please give us a survey.
Give us 5 stars.
In your survey. Fuck you. If she really wanted to appeal to her, she'd be like, how about this? I wipe out your debt and I pay you all. She didn't offer that. She offered her a bunch of money and power. So she doesn't even know how to make the right offer.
That's true.
And I think she also assumed, unfortunately, I think this is where these two differ. She assumed that Indira wants the same things as Lorraine wants, and she doesn't. And the idea of pushing around a bunch of security team doofuses who check your ID when you're leaving the place, her goal isn't to own the team, own the libs. Her goal is honestly, I think, to do what feels morally right to her, even if her moral sensibilities sometimes are breaking the rules, because she's lied now, right? She's put herself at risk. She has visited with what is known to be a fugitive or somebody who needs something. Yep. Well, I guess, is she really a fugitive? She's not committed a crime that is provable yet. I
don't know, maybe.
The murder at the station?
Maybe with the identity or something?
The death, yeah, I suppose, assuming somebody's... Yeah, true.
Okay.
Cool.
Cool. Big gulps.
I think it's yet to be seen what will happen, but what we do find out shortly after this is where the Porsche was getting gassed up to go.
That's right.
Back to what?
Back to the tender trap.
Booyah!
Back at the Northern. It's a palindrome. This episode's a palindrome. It kind of. Yeah, actually.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I just want to say we're going to come back to it, but we're not trying to gloss over the fact that she gave her all these photos and this case file full of things on Dot and what we know happened to her. I'm sorry. This is one of those moments where I realized we talked about in the hot dish, so it feels like we said it.
Right.
It is very clear that she literally has climbed through 6 levels of hell to get where she is, which we were already told in episode 2 or 3. I can't remember. I'm sorry. And whatnot. But we're gonna touch on that next. So those of you who have been screaming at into your headphones or into the open air, that what about this? We're coming back. Don't worry. So tender trap.
Danish is here. Danish with VD. We got Danish VD and some candy. Or candy, not some candy.
Do you think that's candy? We should find out. Well, no, because candy's in Sioux Falls. Candy's in Sioux Falls,
yeah. And he's got a restraining order. So,
yeah.
Not candy. Yep, so Danish comes in, plays the Danish move by basically just putting somebody on the phone with Lorraine.
It's the second time that he's done that.
Yeah, exactly.
He even had to go do that to Wayne at the dealership.
Yeah.
I was surprised. I thought for a minute maybe Danish was going to get to slap another guy.
Yeah, Lorraine is a little bit of a control freak, but she's, again, like, Danish is just totally unrecognized. Here, drive this phone over to this person.
Right.
And then let me know when I'm on.
We really get like a look at a lot of these things here, but I also think this is the time where we come front to back. We have VD outside pleading with Roy that I know a senator or a governor.
Mm-hmm.
I already forgot. Sorry.
Governor.
But what we get to here now is bookending the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, instead of that, it's Lorraine who has reached out to actual people and is fucking him up.
Right.
She's talked to the SEC chairman. She's freezing his funds. She knows about the Mesa Prudential $100 million. She knows about everything. And she's literally, instead of... So in the first part of the show, we have a guy making an idle threat to another dude who thinks he's got it made. And instead, she's owning them both. Not only that, but she's owning Roy and she's owning good old VD and saying, like, you guys, y'all gotta know, I actually got the connections. I'm gonna make all these things. I'm gonna call in the chips or whatever it is she's done to do this. And then her face, she really enjoyed it. And I think I said it on the hot dish. So did Danish. I got to pull it up for Charpie here. Like, look at that guy's face. That is the end of the phone call when he puts the phone away. He likes to watch. I'm just saying it. I'm not going to kink shame anybody, but he enjoys his job, I think. He doesn't like the way other people treat him, but the way Lorraine treats him and what she does for him, he likes working for her. He only feels inferior to the people around him that he hired. I don't think he feels bad about his relation to Lorraine.
I think you're right. I think that's accurate.
In a weird way, he's the guy who's like, he's like fine doing what he is. He's fine with her being in her position of whatever he is. So that's his gig, and he's fine with it, which is good. It's good for him. Just want to know what happened to your eye, bud. Just tell me.
Just tell us. Nobody wants to see a character with an eye patch and not have it explained. Mm-hmm. Isn't that kind of funny? Like, you see somebody with an eye patch, you feel like you're owed an explanation.
I'm at this moment where I think you and I talked about it. I know somebody wrote in about it as well, but it's our own, like, kind of broken human nature to feel entitled to information.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was going with.
Oh, you were too?
Yeah.
We really bring this whole thing to bear. She enjoys it. Danish enjoys it. And Roy is really not going to enjoy it. And it's going to mess a lot of things up. And then to me, that's the bookends of manipulation, right? It opens with one and ends with one at the same shop. And I think it is on purpose. I think it is incredible editing. And I think it's wonderful storytelling and foreshadowing of maybe helping us bring Lorraine's humanity to the situation over the course of a few little peeks into her, that she just, hey, speaking of you and I's crazy interest in being like, tell me what happened to your eye. Lorraine can't look away from the manila folder or whatever you want to say on her desk. And she finally has to look at it. And she has to look the cold, hard truth in the face of what it is she's ignoring, whether or not she does or doesn't respect Dot or Nadine or anything. And when she does that, it is cold, it is hard, it's ugly, it's awful. And it's a powerful way, outside of what I think are those two bookends, to end this episode. I mean, was it similar for you?
Absolutely, yeah. I'm really looking forward to next week, probably more so than any other episode so far this season. I do look forward to each episode and each new week, but this next one, I'm just like, it can't come soon enough for me. I'm ready.
I hope that maybe in some small way, Lorraine can come to the aid of another person. It's very clearly that Indira is already trying to do. We did not see Whitfar. We have to just hope and pray that somewhere in the background he's working his way up to something.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we're looking to a future where Gator's going to get got or owned or grabbed by the business once again.
Exactly.
It might actually be more, I think it might be satisfying to watch him be just like owned again without a death of any kind.
Would you rather see him owned by, perhaps even with a death, by either Oli or Wit?
Oh man, that's a great question. I want to see him get owned in a non-deathy way by Oli again.
Mm.
I want to see him in 3 episodes from now put himself in an impossible situation with Whitfar and get off that way.
Okay. So you're going for both?
A little bit, but just by 2 different characters. But I also just don't know. I don't think Whitfar is the kind of guy in this show to be a guy who's going to pull the trigger on a person. He fired back kind of loosely at the gas and go, but he's an analytical fellow from what I can tell. So we've seen Indira interact with everybody. I want to see the 2 of them come back together for a little bit more sleuthing and going on the good side, the bright side of life.
Mm-hmm.
What about you?
Definitely Wit. Like, we'll see enough from Oli. I want Wit to take Gator down hard.
If we're talking about this being a bookend, early predictions, right? If we're talking about this being a new telling of the original show, you got to remember at the end of Fargo, the movie, Gare's in the back. He's not dead. She doesn't shoot him.
Yep.
I guess that's the other thing is like, we didn't even talk about this and I feel bad. Like, what are the traps that are being set? We sort of mentioned it. I mean, Gator has quote unquote set a trap for Oli. Is the job offer a trap to Indira?
Good one.
Who else is in a trap?
Scotty might be a trap for Dot by Indira.
Yep. We're missing a few. Tell us if there's any. And then tying it together with the 1955 film that we opened with.
Yeah, so I've got a running theory that I'm going with. It's not totally fleshed out, so I'm just going to kind of lay the groundwork.
Hit me with it.
So that we can maybe have it in the back of our mind. Maybe there's nothing to it, and it's certainly not groundbreaking by any means, but this whole like parallel universes, like light versus dark kind of theme going on. We've already had Star Wars references, so like, you know, the dark side and the light side, I guess. And I'm trying to see, like, is this working with the characters? Are there like pairings of characters where it's like a very clear parallel where 2 characters are really the same, but one is light and one is dark? Like, for example, like, is Indira the light opposite Lorraine as the dark? Because they're both chasing after the same people. They're both trying to get Dot, right? Well, I guess in that case, is Indira opposite Oli? Because Indira's like the endearing light side, trying to get Dot, and Oli's the opposite, parallel dark side of the same thing. They're both hunting down the same tiger. Is Wayne the light side opposite of Roy? Because they're both the husbands. One's the light, one's the dark. Or is Lars the opposite of Wink? I don't know. They're kind of the same. But think about that. Maybe there's something to it. Maybe you can draw a line and like see like who's in the upside down here. I mean, it's fairly obvious who the bad guys are, but it's kind of like there's reciprocal sort of.
Is it clear always? I mean, I think it's clear. I think it's clear based on you and your feelings and mine and my feelings and each listener. I mean, I also wonder if they're trying to help us draw these weird delineations of gradation. Because by the way, I really dig what you're saying. Like I'm even I'll go back and re-listen to what you just said, just for me to like digest that after the fact, because you're just saying this in front of me for the first time. But I like
what you're saying. Like what you're saying is, you know, life is gray, not necessarily black and white.
Yeah, but we like clarity. Here you go. We want to know why. Mm-hmm. Why do you have an eye patch on? Why do we have these curiosities of our own human intellect and intent? Well, that's Charpie, I think it's been kind of real. We're gonna go grab some dinner and something to eat. I'm gonna have to figure out how to edit this sometime.
We're gonna get
after
dinner
this, heading
and
into the
something to
holiday.
eat. A couple bowls of cereal, and then we'll go have dinner.
Yeah, exactly. Spam and maybe some Vienna sausage, some bacon wrapped little smokies. What else can we say? Well, here's the deal. Whatever you're celebrating in the next few days or not celebrating, we hope you have a fantastic time. It's a time of year where people spend some time with family and travel. Safe travels to you and yours. And yeah, that's about all we can say. Cheers from Fargo.
Yep. Bye now.